welcoming Mr. Russ Buzalko. Russ is a returning presenter. He's been with us before, and he says that you are the best people to present to, so he's always happy to come back and join us again.
All right. Well, thanks, Judy. How many people have seen me before or been here? It's been a couple of, oh, wow, okay, wow. Hi, welcome back. So, all right, surprise. So thank you. Again, welcome back. My name is Russ Buzalko, as Judy mentioned, and how many people here, and this is very participatory today, so I want a lot of inputs from all of you. How many people here are kind of sick of 2020 and the way 2021 is kind of starting? Yeah, okay, pretty much all the hands are going to go up on that one, I would just expect. Yeah, I'm definitely included in on that one. So when Judy contacted me and said, hey, would you like to present this year? I said, yeah. One of the things I'd like to present on is the idea that you're not alone. During COVID, and as Chris mentioned, some of the skills pharmacy techs have, some of the challenges that you face, I want you to know that you're not alone in any of the situations. You don't have to rely on yourself solely. You don't even have to rely on your own profession. There are many other professions out there that you can rely on. And that's kind of what I want to open your mind to and kind of get you thinking about and working towards and exploring options that maybe you didn't think of in the past. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. A little bit of a review, but we're going to ask you to participate a lot in this session. So, kind of getting to know a little bit more about me, but not trying to completely focus on me. My Ph.D., I have a doctorate in education, so that makes sense. If you look at where I'm working right now in the office that I head, education, that seems to match. What about the MAS? Does anybody know what that might stand for? You might not. It's kind of a little bit out there. Any guesses, any takers on that one? All right, well, I'll help you with that one definitely, because it's a master's in aeronautical science. So, to kind of make that connection and what's going on there and why I chose this topic that we're discussing today, a long time ago, like many, many moons ago, I applied for jobs at Nebraska Medicine. I knew I was highly qualified for them and couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting an interview. I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on? Why are we not getting a link here? Why am I not getting a call back? So I called up HR. I said, hey, what's going on? I'm trying to be super friendly here but not be too pushy. They said, well, you have a master's degree in aeronautical science, so how does that apply to healthcare? I said, good you ask. I said, Masters of Aeronautical Science is not necessarily taking apart planes. It's not designing airplanes, what you might think, and that's where she was going with that. I said, no, Masters of Aeronautical Science is how to operate and manage an airport. Now let's think about that one for a second. Managing and operating an airport. Is that like the healthcare systems that you work in? Some of you might work in a hospital setting. Hospital versus airport. Both have sanitation, security, administration, operations, you name it. Those are all identical, not really much difference there. As far as what the primary role is, in a hospital setting where I work now, pretty much you bring patients in, you take care of them, you process them, and you get them back out the door. I mean, to really boil it down, that's what it is. You give them the best care you can. Airlines, airports, things like that. You get passengers in the door, you process them, you get them off the ground, you get them on to their next location. See the similarities there, folks? So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to show you how there are similarities in other industries. And when you think you're alone, you can reach out to them, touch base with them, get inputs from them, get some advice. All right, everybody with me so far? All right. So the objectives, let's go through the administrative pieces of this. We're going to demonstrate similar ethical behaviors across high-risk, high-reliability organizations, and we'll talk about those a little bit more in a minute. And we're going to learn from good experiences, or at least that's our hopes. As you know, and what I like to preach a lot when I'm teaching a podium-type class is, it's great. I may stand up here, model good behavior, you may learn from that, but typically we learn from ourselves or learn from others from bad mistakes a lot more. They tend to stick with you a little bit more, don't you think? Can't you think of a few people from your past, like, oh, I don't want to be like him or her. Oh, what they just did, I don't want to do. All right, so we're going to try and learn from those. The two other points pretty much come back to you. You're actually going to do a lot of this. Like I said, there's a lot of participation going on here today, folks. So you're going to look at your past careers. How can you take those careers, take that information, take those processes, and morph them into something that can help you today as a pharmacy tech? And then also we're going to get together in little groups and we're going to kind of do similar exercises where we talk with each other, make some connections, and hopefully you're going to network with each other and leave here with a wider network than what you came in with today and tomorrow. All right, last of the administrative slides, Code of Ethics. That's why you're getting CEUs. We're tying this back to your Code of Ethics for the pharmacy techs. Professional knowledge and expertise. That's not necessarily going to come from me. That's going to come from you and each other. But we're going to expand on that. We're going to show you how to get more knowledge and more expertise from each other because we're better together. Respect and values, we're going to talk about those a little bit, and support for the organization. All right, everybody with me so far? I haven't lost anybody yet. Yep, that's a picture of me. You can tell this is during COVID because I got my children's logo wear on. I was working from home this day, and I got my sweats on the bottom if you can't see that. So I think any of us who have worked from home, maybe you didn't have that luxury like I did, but I mixed it up during COVID where I could at least be at home for a bit. But I took the bike tire, went out in the driveway, and we got a picture, and that's me being a real wheel hugger. But what do I mean by that? Other people have addressed a lot of the same problems you're going to encounter as a pharmacy tech. Maybe even as a person, as a family member, things like that. Again, I don't want you to be alone. I want you to know that you can reach out, talk to other people, work with them. All right, so basically as the statement says at the bottom, take their wheel and make it your own. Not asking you to plagiarize, don't want you to do that, but if you take something from somebody else, give them credit for it and move on. Make it change just enough so it fits into your category and what your exact situation is. All right, now we're starting to get into parts where I'm going to want to hear from you. High-risk profession or organization, what is that? This one's kind of simple, just like it sounds. What would that be? Who knows that one? High-risk profession or organization. Go ahead, just shout it out.
Hurting people.
Say that.
I view it as a higher risk of hurting people or how much damage you can cause to a person.
Great. The answer was higher risk of hurting somebody. That's exactly right. If you're doing something, if you're in a profession or an organization where you could cause harm to either somebody else or yourself, that's a high-risk profession or high-risk organization. Great answer. How about a high-reliability organization or profession? What do you think that might be? This one's a little different. At Children's, we work with this one. Our quality improvement department kind of pushes us towards this. Any ideas on this one?
Where people trust what you're doing.
Okay, when people trust what you're doing. How do you get to that point? What do you think about that? How do you get to that trust point? Just expanding on that a little bit.
I'd probably say consistency.
There we go. You nailed it. So yes, we're going to try and create consistent procedures, processes, so that the things we do right and avoid those high-risk behaviors or harm to others, we're going to keep doing that over and over again, and we're going to try and mitigate those bad things that we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. So high-reliability organizations, a place where you recognize that you have high risk, but you want to mitigate that. You want to develop those processes and procedures so that you don't implement those high-risk behaviors and do harm to somebody. Everybody good on that one? All right. Sound like I had a buzzer going on behind me there. That was different. All right. So pharmacy techs, do you guys fall into these two categories right here? What do you think? Getting a lot of head nods, yep. Yeah, you guys could do harm if you make a mistake, if you don't do your job properly, if you don't use your code of ethics, things like that. You could do harm to somebody. None of you want that. I know you don't, because you're here today getting your continuing education units, making yourself better, taking what you learn back to your organizations, whether you're in retail, a hospital. Any veterinary pharmacy techs here today? Oh, we've got one up in the back there. I can see. Any other hands too? All right, well, welcome. Kind of like knowing the audience a little bit more there. So, cool. Now, the next 4 slides, we're going to do a comparison. This is where I kind of get you to drink the Kool-Aid and believe what I'm saying. So we're going to compare these high-risk, high-reliability organizations and show you that we're more alike than not alike, all right? And I put pharmacy right in the middle just so you can kind of look to both sides. It's not to say you're buried in the middle. It's actually a more important position in the way I'm presenting this. So you can look to both sides. It's also not an all-inclusive list. The next 4 slides, these are kind of ideas, some things I picked up on Google, some things that I knew from my past experiences. So if you're talking about regulatory bodies, you guys all deal with regulatory bodies, don't you? Somebody's always coming in telling you how to do your job and what rules and how do you keep your pharmacy certified, things like that. Yeah. So if you look across there, regulatory bodies, state medical boards, nursing has about the same thing there. They have their own nursing regulatory bodies for each of the 50 states, kind of tell them how to do their jobs properly and consistently and within standards. Aviation, that's a background I come from. So I do come from an Air Force background, 20 years in the military, flew airplanes for about the last 11. Learning about concepts we're going to talk about in a couple slides and how they apply to healthcare, that's how I ended up here today. That was my crossover. So aviation has the FAA. If you didn't know about it, FAA is here in the United States. ICAO is the one for the rest of the world. So pilots have to know the rules when they're flying here in the States. They may take off from the States and land in Europe. They have to know the different rules that go along with that. There's different regulatory bodies. Same with railroads. You have the Railroad Administration, you have the Department of Transportation, and also in nuclear power. We in agreement right off the bat to say that these are all high-risk, high-reliability organizations and professions, and you're included right in the middle of it? Good? Yep. Lots of head nods. I like that. All right. Continuing along, expanding your perception of the other professions. Schooling. Yeah. Physicians, they're going to go to undergrad school. They're going to go to med school. They're going to do a residency fellowship. Nursing. Any nurses in here? Nurse? Okay. So nurses have more letters behind their name than any other organization, profession I've ever seen. But it goes back to certifications, things that they're qualified to do. So that goes back to their schooling. It means they have a lot of schooling. Aviation, ground schools, flight certifications, railroads, you have a lot of commonality with nuclear power, on-the-job training, colleges, universities, exams. They go right across the board there. There's boards and exams for all the professions that we're talking about here. Recurring education, yep, you guys are here today getting continuing education. Nurses, doctors, same way. Railroads, nuclear power, they often get the additional training when new equipment comes out because they don't want to mess up on how they're operating the equipment and blow up the world. That would be bad. All right. Aviation, the one that I highlighted there and I have the most experience with. Check rides. This is something that I don't see the other professions doing as much. Basically, every 12 to 18 months, I had to demonstrate my proficiency at my craft. Aviators do that. I was a navigator by profession. Pilots do it too. Flight attendants, other people, air traffic controllers, frequently have somebody else come in and evaluate them. You take tests to make sure you know the rules and regulations, and then you demonstrate it by somebody watching your flight. I don't see that so much in other industries. It's actually you're demonstrating outcomes and behaviors, things like that. Wish we'd see that a little bit more of that in healthcare. The closest I've seen on recurring training is our medical assistants over at Children's. Set up labs each year, and then the medical assistants have to go through them. Anybody do anything like that in your pharmacies by any chance? Okay, so something to think about. If there's a chance for you to reinforce your skills, be evaluated by somebody else, I recommend it. I'm not saying it's a must, but aviation does that every 12 to 18 months. Codes of ethics. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, that we're tying in these presentations to your code of ethics right across the board. You can see that every group, every profession there has it. PPE equipment. Who in here has become way more familiar with PPE over the last year than you ever wanted to be? Yes, that would be all of us. Yeah, 2 hands up there. I like that, enthusiasm. All right, so PPE. One group that's really good at this, going to one of my past careers again, I'm not saying it's always the answer, but it's what I know the best. Military. We were always donning and doffing chemical gear, whether we're on the ground and using those types of procedures or if we did it for aviation. There were 2 sets of procedures, 2 sets of equipment, and we were very proficient at it. There's times when we were doing things in the healthcare environment, I'm like, why don't we just go down the road and talk to the people down at Offutt or maybe down in Lincoln? They're experts at this. Why don't we talk to them? Well, most of the time it got sorted out and we didn't have to do that, but I tried to make people think in those directions whenever I could. Because again, don't reinvent the wheel. Somebody else has probably already done it or learned lessons along the way. All right, that one procedure or that one process I told you about that helped me jump from aviation over to healthcare, crew resource management. You can see it here. I actually spoke to this group in the past about team steps. But what that's based on is a concept called crew resource management. And it has spread across all the high reliability organizations and professions we're talking about here today. And again, this is only a subset. We can make this go even further if we wanted to, but I tried to keep it manageable for today. Crew resource management. Think about aviation. Back in the 70s, they crashed a few airplanes, mainly due to human error. They convened a board in 1979 to say, hey, why are we crashing these airplanes due to human error? They came up with all these processes, procedures, checklists, communications, leadership, teamwork, and they made it widely available, and it was mandated. That's the key word here, mandated for aviation. People get evaluated on that in those check rides that I mentioned earlier. So with crew resource management, they reduced the number of people who crash airplanes nowadays. It's a rare thing. If something even comes close to an incident, it makes the news, and if a plane does crash, it's huge news. One bad thing in healthcare in general for all of us, all the healthcare professions, talking about human errors, we crash the equivalent to 1 to 2 planes a day if you use conservative numbers. We crash 3 to 4 if you use more general numbers due to human error. So why aren't we doing this a little bit more? In this case, if you have a situation where you need to deal with leadership, communication, things like that, I suggest looking to crew resource management or team steps. It could help you out in your organization. Simulation, for the sake of time, it pretty much, again, goes across all the professions we're talking about. And there's low fidelity sims, there's high fidelity sims. Other organizations, the pharmacy school here on campus has a simulation center. I don't know if you've got to see that. But they have patient rooms. They have a pharmacy itself where you get to practice your craft before you go out and actually deal with it in a hospital, retail, veterinary setting. So simulation, great way of practicing emergencies too, without actually practicing the emergency on a person or in a real world situation. So simulation, big fan of it. Again, not all inclusive. The slide here, I love using Venn diagrams to kind of represent the overlap, but that's you at the center there. Just think about it. You can reach out, talk to your other pharmacy tech friends. You can talk to nurses. You can talk to physicians. You can talk to anybody you want. Again, trying to make your world easier and realize you're not alone in situations, because guaranteed, if you're dealing with a situation, somebody's already probably crossed that bridge and figured out a way to take care of it. Now we're going to be going over to you. Think about this as a couple rounds of Millionaire, and you got a phone a friend situation. So I'm going to describe a situation to you or a topic, and you're going to tell me the professions or the organizations or however you want to look at it you might reach out to. If you had a problem with customer service, what profession or group do you think you'd talk to if you could do a phone a friend to resolve your situation? Customer service, what do you think? Hospitality, like that one. Any specifics there? Okay. Hotels, hospitality, like that one. That's a good one. How about some others? We'll do this. We got about 3 or 4 slides like this with different topics, and I want to hear what you kind of think. What? Telemarketing. Okay. That's a good one. We may not like those people, but I bet they're really good at dealing with rude customers and customer service. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Retail, there's another good one. Like that one. How about some others? I sometimes think about even people not even, but you may not think of them, like Burger King, Taco Bell. They're dealing with customers all the time. I've learned things from managers at Burger King who de-escalated a situation that I thought was going to turn very ugly. I'm like, ooh, that was a good way to handle that. That was a good way to deal with that customer. So good on them. Got another one there.
One that's closer to being related is pharmacy benefit management companies.
Pharmacy benefit management companies. Okay. So they're good with that. You talking like when a customer or patient calls in and they have an issue with their claim or something like that? Yeah? All right, so good ones. Here's the ones I thought of. And again, this is not the correct list. This is just what I was thinking about when I was putting the presentations together. Flight attendants, especially nowadays, if you watch the news recently, they're like taking self-defense training now. They've gone beyond customer service to just like protecting their you-know-whats. So paramedics, EMS, clinic access people, pharmacy techs, you deal with the customers a lot. So if I have a question, I'm going to come to you. All right? Similar type of idea, competency topics. I can't say it, but I know what I mean. Competency topics. If you're having issues with competency at your work, who do you think you can talk to? Who else deals with these issues? Who might be a good phone a friend on this one? Oh, started to hear something.
Trainers.
Trainers, what kind?
Depends on what your business is. Any sort of trainers.
Okay, so trainers.
Because they have to know what they're training.
Yep.
In order to train the people who are actually doing the business.
Another great answer. I like that one a lot. Yeah, they're supposed to be the experts in their areas. They're training other people on it. They should be flawless. They should know the rules. They should know the processes and procedures. So good one there. Anything else? More for competencies. All right, I'll flip on here. Again, this is part of the reason why I picked nuclear power reactors. They're dealing with checklists. They practice emergency procedures frequently. Unfortunately, sometimes they go wrong. Chernobyl was the cause of an emergency procedure gone wrong, but they discovered things from that too. Hopefully they took care of that in future reactors. But these guys here and gals are always, sorry, I'm from the East Coast. If you didn't see me present before, guys is non-gender universal for me, unfortunately. I'm trying to get away from that. But these guys and ladies are working in a nuclear power control center. Yes. People working with hazmat, they need to get it right. One zipper wrong, one wrong move with the protective equipment that they're using could go wrong. Again, people in the pharmacy situation. So your high risk, high reliability organizations in general. Respect and values. How about that? If you're having issues with respect or you're trying to develop values for your pharmacy, we only got one or two more of these left. So how about, what do you think? Respect and values. Who do you think of as being respectful people? Respectful, perfect.
Equity and inclusion department.
Okay, I like that one. That might come up again here in maybe another slide. I like that. That's a good one. So equity, diversity, inclusion departments. Yeah, if you're in a bigger organization, you're going to have somebody dedicated to that type of thing, and that's 100% correct from my point of view. When I have to develop respect, value statements for my organization, for my own department, I go talk to the EDI folks. All right, so military. Again, it comes back to what I know a little bit. We tend to home a little bit on our views, but there's the Air Force core values. Integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do. That was kind of almost beat into my head over the years, but it's short, it's simple, it's sweet, it's to the point. Right there in the middle, that's our equity, diversity, inclusion manager, so right on target with where I was thinking with that. Just the military in general, tidbit of small information, the respect piece there. You see somebody saluting right there. Just total FYI. The salute in the military has to do with respect. It dates back to the time of the knights. And your knights were your officers, the people who attended to the people on the horses were your equivalent to NCOs, non-commissioned officers, and the people who did the other associated duties. That was your enlisted corps, so history lesson there too. But for respect, they used to lift up their visors, look each other in the eye before they went to battle, either jousting or fighting with swords. So that's where the idea of the salute came from. There you go. No extra charge for that, folks. All right. But it comes back to overall showing of respect for each other. So if we're talking about respect, I think about the military and a lot of what they do and how they respect each other. They don't always get it right. Again, learn from the lessons where you don't get it right. Safety. You guys should have a lot of inputs on this one. How about this side over here? I'm not hearing from this side as much. How about safety? Can you help me with this one? Who would you think of? What professions? Firefighters. Okay, like that one. Construction, I heard. How about another one? I thought I heard something else. Oh. Or was that construction together there? Sorry. All right. Construction, firefighters. Who else is involved in safety?
Now, it depends on what you're talking about in safety.
Okay. What do you think?
Computer safety or IT people.
Okay. That's a good one. That's thinking outside the box. I like that.
Law enforcement.
Law enforcement, another good one. Say that one again. I'm sorry. Yep. like your OSHA variants and things like that? Yeah, great one. So I think you guys nailed this one. But the Safety Council kind of goes along with OSHA and the comment that was made. And one thing that I really like about aviation is when an accident happens, they do a report on it and they make it public to everybody. Unfortunately, in healthcare, we're not going to see that because when an accident, an incident, a sentinel event happens, unfortunately, there's lawsuits usually involved and everything gets locked down. There's a lot of data, a lot of information that we're losing out on, that we're not learning from, that like an organization like aviation, once the investigation's done, the information's made public so we all learn from it. All right, I think this is the last one. Organization support and professionalism. So just take professionalism. What are you thinking about there? Who would you phone? Who would you talk to if you had a problem you get home tonight at your pharmacy? Professionalism. Anybody? Professionalism? What's the most professional profession you can think of? Okay, did that one on purpose. Lawyer? Okay, I would say depends on who it is. Yes, there's times, yes. Which one? Yeah. Maybe a bad example, maybe a good example. Sorry, I know we're being recorded. Hopefully no lawyers watch this. All right. All right, so we'll continue on here. Yes, we have Business Ethics Alliances. That one's here in Omaha. I love that group. If you want to, they hold seminars, they hold classes all the time. People who actually deal with volunteers. They're being professional. They're supporting the organization. So if you're talking on that side, employee resource groups. We're fortunate at Children to have 5. We just started a 6th employee resource group. It gives you chances to network with similar people and get to work with each other and share your common experiences. And, ooh, look, animation. Again, no charge for that. AAPT. You're going to learn from each other. You're going to learn from the presentations here today, tomorrow, and equipment. We already talked about PPE. We'll continue on a little bit since we already talked about that. That one there is me practicing my chemical defense procedures in the aircraft. And, of course, we always have a joker in the background who's giving me bunny ears, and I just cut him out of the photo. So that's anti-professionalism there. But if we're talking about PPE and other things like that, the biocontainment unit is in the lower left of the screen there. That's here at Nebraska Medicine. Again, firefighters came up for safety, and also PPE would be another good one for them. So kind of wrapping this all up before we turn it over to you for the next 2 exercises is we're not asking you to have somebody come in and run your organization. I've actually heard this before when we've talked about crew resource management team steps. I've seen a very senior physician kind of do like his version of a major hissy fit and like, we're not going to have a pilot come in and fly my hospital. Like, no, we're not asking you to do that. We're asking you to take what they've done well, learn from it. Take where they've made mistakes, learn from it. Make it your own, adapt it. And I was just like, wow, that hissy fit was amazing. So we're not asking a pilot to come in and take over your pharmacy, hospital, veterinary clinic. We're also not asking you to go out and become a physician, a nurse, or whatever. Your profession is your profession. Just be the best that you can. It's just learning from each other and what works for you. All right, individual exercise. This is where you're all going to stay in your seats, and we're going to take probably about 3 minutes. I want you to think back to a previous job that you had. Some of you might be a little bit young. Maybe this is your first career, but maybe you were a babysitter, maybe a dog walker. Maybe this is your 15th career. I don't know. But think about one of your past careers and a skill set from there. What can you bring from there forward to you current day as a pharmacy tech? Let's take about 2 or 3 minutes to think about that. Write it down if you can. And then we'll do a report out here in a couple minutes. How about 3:42? All right. Should I play the Jeopardy music? All right. See some definite thinking going on here. Concentration. I like it. Oh, thank you. I'm allowed outside the line. Thanks, Judy. If you guys figure it out and look up at me, I'll kind of know that you're done. That's the teacher in me. you're less than a minute. You're doing great. I'm all counting on you. Judy, I feel like a gymnast here at the Olympics. Like I got my boundary. If you don't know, Judy like painted lines down here for us to stay in. So it's like a 5/10 of deduction if you step out. So.
And I'll be the one stepping out.
All right, so we're just wrapping up here, folks. How about we have a couple suggestions on what was your past career or profession, and what's the task or the idea or the concept you're bringing forward? Who wants to volunteer to go first on this one? Again, no wrong answers. Low threat. I'm not grading you. All right, how about over here?
Yeah, I worked as a waitress.
Worked as a waitress, gotcha.
And, waiting on people.
Yep.
And taking orders and delivering their check and collecting the money.
Okay, so how does that pertain? So waitress, delivering food, taking their money, and probably dealing with their issues. How does that pertain to your pharmacy tech career right now? How does that apply?
Well, pharmacy, you're meeting different people. You're treating the people that come in as patients.
Yep.
And the visitors. You're treating them as guests. And then you're, if they ask for directions, you don't want to just tell them. You probably, if you have the time, to escort them to the place.
Yeah.
Or to the destination. And taking orders, you can, you're used to doing that from your superiors or supervisor, taking orders.
Okay.
And then delivering a check. You could be you can deliver the orders to the pharmacist, answering the telephone, delivering messages.
Yeah. All right, all great examples. So delivering food and all that equates to handing out the prescriptions, making sure you're getting it right, accuracy. You mentioned about basically having somebody to report to. You're taking orders from somebody. You take orders from your boss or the pharmacist possibly in a pharmacy situation. So all great examples. So do you feel better having had that experience and being able to transfer that in as a pharmacy tech?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, especially when I was taking orders on the phone and people call and they would have like a different accent.
Ah.
So I could always understand what the people are saying in the hospital setting when they have a problem pronouncing something, or you just try to
Okay.
just understand what they're saying.
Dealing with some language barriers and accents, heavy accents, kind of transferred. One thing you mentioned that I really liked is you mentioned the patient, and also you mentioned like family members or visitors.
Yes.
That's something that I see sometimes lacks in healthcare situation, that the visitor or the family member gets ignored. So from your answer there, I can see that you're trying to show respect to everybody you're working with. So that's a good one. I like that one a lot. So thank you for that. How about one other? Can we get another one on your own experience transferring into pharmacy tech? One more. Again, no wrong answers. I'm starting to run out of time here. All right, there we go.
JCPenney in college.
JCPenney in college.
So it's very similar
Yep.
with customer service. Somebody was always mad about something was wrong, here or there. We did that a lot.
Customer service, angry customers, gotcha.
And just making sure that, you can de-escalate situations and
Okay.
make them feel good when they leave.
De-escalate situations, make them feel good about themselves when they leave. Yeah. Make sure that you address their concerns. Make sure that they know that you heard them. Those are all great skills. Do you work? Yeah. Are you retail or hospital?
Retail.
Retail. Okay. Do you see the same skills transferable to hospital, like somebody who deals in a hospital?
A lot about hospital.
Okay. How about any of my hospital pharmacist techs? Transferable? Do you think? Yeah. You can help out each other. There'll be slight differences, but same concepts. No, good one. All right, so I wrote down some of my own individual answers. I started out, I've been paying taxes since I'm 14. Honestly, I'm tired of it, but that's a totally separate presentation. But I started out working in a kennel. I was a pooper scooper, literally. And yeah, if you look at skill sets of other past professions as a pooper scooper, yeah, I've worked in undesirable situations. I'm used to smelly things. Military retiree, probably somebody who's good at following directions. I can bring that forward. I know how to interpret rules and policies. General contractor for my own house after I retired from the military. So project management skills. If you and I were working together and we had an issue with something that would relate to project management, I might be a good one for you to reach out to do that phone a friend thing that we talked about. And then I'm a teacher in higher education. I like getting in front of people and talking like this. I hate the Zoom situation. I'm happy to be here with you today. I'm excited, really, and I'm actually out of practice a little bit because we haven't been able to do it for 18 months. So, doing the best I can here. All right, group exercise. So what we're going to do here very quickly for about another 3 minutes. You're kind of sitting together in like little groups. I don't want you to get too close and bust each other's bubbles or social distance violations or anything like that. But it's a very similar exercise. Talk with each other a little bit for about, how about at 50, we'll stop. You won't get a lot of discussions in, but actually let's make it 52. Talk to each other. Address some situations. Does anybody in here have a situation or an issue you want to discuss with the group? Ask for inputs. Ask for people to bring those other experiences, whether it's as a pharmacy tech or it's from another profession or career. So let's just take a few minutes. At 52, we'll reconvene, and we'll do a quick little report out. So talk to each other, help each other resolve some situations. What do you think? All right?
How long do they get this time?
52.
Okay.
So then I got like 3 slides left, so I should finish on time. It should be good.
You are a great first presenter because you get them talking.
That's my favorite, this one.
You know,
Yeah.
when I was, they were dead silent when I introduced you and stuff. So look at the difference.
Yeah, and they're going to have an exercise here too where it's going to try to continue. And I hope you can springboard off of that because I know you like your icebreakers. And you might be able to dovetail and keep it going.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Got a little less than a minute left. All right, that looks like time. Let's start wrapping it up, bring it back in. All right, one thing I did notice right off the bat is this group right up in here invited, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, sir, but my OSHA friend there. They invited him over, so they're already networking and they're trying to solve problems together. So do you guys know each other already? Or were you friends before, or how did that work? No? Made new friends. All right? All right, good deal. What was that? You're like, no.
They go way back.
Oh, they go way back? Okay. So, all right. So who wants to report out? What type of issue maybe did you identify, or what type of connection did you just make? I'll take about anything on this one. What do you think? Understaffed, okay. So what was the issue? What kind of resolution are you starting to work towards? Because I'm sure within 3 minutes you didn't solve all the issues of the world.
Hire more for us, but I think being understaffed kind of puts us in a stress where we have to work
Okay.
harder, and sometimes we tend to make mistakes.
Okay.
We have to kind of retract and apologize for the mistake we made, and we just have to do our best and move forward with that.
Okay. Understaffing, causing stress, moving forward, apology. That's a good thing. Sometimes we forget to apologize. There's such thing as a blameless apology. You can apologize to a patient or a client or a staff member, and you're not really blaming anybody for it, but you're saying that you understand where they're coming from and apologizing for the situation. Was that based on pharmacy tech experience, or was that based on another career or profession, or did you get that far yet? Pharmacy techs? Okay, that's great. Different experiences going on right there. There's what, 6 of you, pretty much. 7? Party of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 6. 7. Okay, you were in on it too. Thank you. Yeah, you really phoned a friend on that one. All right. How about any other groups? Who else wants to report out? We could probably get 1 or 2 more in. But great example. How about anybody else? 1 more. Any issues? Did you make new friends? Did you make new connections? Yes. Okay. Who? Where? Looks like one of these 2 groups was about to say something. I'm really good at this. I can pick up when somebody's going to say something. And also, you guys have been some of the most inputting people. So, how about it? Anything? Right there. Sir.
We took it as a group also on top of it, the metrics, but also the kind of the passing on the buck and passing down the line. You know,
Okay.
You try to get the prescriptions and everything else, and it's all like, every office has, if you're not at your pharmacy, call us. So you try to call them, and you get put on hold, or you get
Oh, okay.
sent to somebody else that can't help you, but yes, and I've done everything I can to get to there, but if you have a patient that it's all, it's your fault. I was out. Why didn't you fill it?
So passing the buck, calling another pharmacy, getting put on hold. Again, my mouth isn't working at the end of the day.
Not another pharmacy, a doctor's office.
Oh, a doctor's office. Okay.
You know, because they say to have your pharmacy call us. Well, the pharmacy calls, and you get the sad, disrespected people. Then you get that front office person that just answers the phone. So like, oh, I can get you somebody. You
Okay.
hold.
Yep, you're on hold. Respect for your time. Okay, so there's issues there.
Their time is important, and it's all like, well, we're busy too, but yet.
Yep. So did you work any solutions, or are you starting to head down towards a path where you can start working with each other? But it's a discussion. Maybe on a break, maybe one of you will have an idea. First name? Mark. Maybe one of you would have an idea for Mark and help him out with this. Or maybe one of you have had an experience with this in the past, and you can help out this group right here in the front center. So that's the idea of this exercise. And while you're on your breaks over the next day and a half, talk about these issues, make friends with each other, and start working towards solutions if you can. Help each other out. You know. Sound good? Anything else you want to add to that before we kind of move on? But yeah, that's a great example of another organization, another profession not being respectful. Sometimes it's people not knowing what the other's dealing with, at least from my experience in the past. When people don't understand each other, like, you know, the hospital or the doctor's office is busy, but so is the pharmacy. No kidding, you guys are dealing with the patients front hand. Maybe they were dismissed from the doctor's office, but now they're right in front of you screaming at you and you're dealing with it. So, you know, maybe sometimes bringing up that point and discussing that with them, saying, hey, well, we've got the patient right here right now and is not happy with us, meaning you too. So, I don't know. Some ideas there. So just start thinking about that, share ideas with each other, help each other out. All right, so a lot of what we're talking about today is about networking, supporting each other, optimizing your collective experiences. And again, this is just kind of cheap little clip art I pulled from PowerPoint, but I thought it was very relevant. You got your network, it's kind of like a spider web, and that's what we want to build here. Use the next day and a half to build your spider's web, your Charlotte's web, your network of friends, people you can talk to. And I've seen it done in the past where HR at an onboarding event puts either up the company name or they put up the word diversity, and then everybody in the group has to come up with words of characteristics related to you that I can't just see and observe. So let's just say we do children's. We put up the word children's, and I have to put up something. Let's just say I played the saxophone, so I use that for the S in children's. So then you stand up and go, okay, I play the saxophone, that's the S in children's, I got that. What kind of skills do you think would be applicable there? They're able to read sheet music. They're probably creative, things like that. So that's why I left these little icons up here. You got your artistic people. You got your construction people who are probably, like we spoke earlier, safety, PPE. You've got your airline folks. You got chefs. Again, respect, safety, things like that. So again, keep building your networks as much as humanly possible, folks. So, homework. And I'm actually very serious about this. Otherwise, I'll come back and visit you before tomorrow's done, all right? You don't want the big, ugly, crazy man who kicked off the conference to come back, okay? So during the breaks, during the get-together tonight, during your time together tomorrow, when you go to a conference and you physically go, the part that I've always loved the best is the networking opportunities. The big talking heads at the front of the class doing what I'm doing here, yeah, that's cool. You'll get something out of that. But learning from each other, that's the part that I've always loved. And I'm the most passionate about when I go out to a conference because, again, there's like 50 of you here today. There'll be about 75 by tomorrow if I got my numbers correctly. That's a lot of brain power, a lot of experiences to share, a lot of things that you can learn from each other. So, homework assignment. Super, super serious here, folks. Your assignment is get to know at least 2 people before you leave this conference. If you're willing to share information, I can't make you share information. But 2 people, one who has similar skill set to yours, and one who might be totally different than you. Share information. For all of you who are super techie, get on your little phones, open your contacts, share information. You know, if you want to share an email or a phone number, that's great. For those of you who are old school or just plain old like I am, I brought index cards with me down here. Index cards and pens. I'm going to leave them here. Judy's going to leave them here through tomorrow. If you feel comfortable in sharing a phone number, a corporate, you know, to your retail pharmacy or to your hospital pharmacy, whatever the case may be, share that information so that you can call each other after this conference is over. Make friends here today. Again, not just people who are like you, but people who are different from you. Everybody good on that? I really, really want you to do that. Again, to the point you feel comfortable sharing information. And also, this isn't like Cupid.com. I'm not trying to go down that road. I'm not trying to make matches here, okay? All right. All right, so to wrap things up, I'm also part of your network now. My business cards are down here. If I can help you in any way, please drop me a line, phone my office, send me an email, but I'll leave the cards here too. So again, we're friends now. We're professional colleagues. Let's help each other out. So we've covered it, and my time is just about up. You're not alone, so don't think about that. This last year has been very discouraging, and you know, use your friends, talk to each other. People have already gone down a lot of the same roads that you have in the past. Learn from their experiences. So I can't say that enough. Life is a continuous improvement process, both professionally and personally. I know that we've all taken a lot of hits, both at work and also in our home environment. work with each other, support each other. If you have any questions, I'm also on LinkedIn too, so if you don't grab my card, just put in like a B and just hit a whole bunch of letters. I mean, you'll probably get me. I mean, and leave out a bunch of vowels. Only use one or two of them, all right? Does anybody have any questions or comments?